Hi, my name is Soile, and you're listening to Heart to Heartland, a fan podcast from a fan perspective. Welcome back to the podcast. Now, before I get into your comments about episode 1, A Risk Everything, I'm going to fill you in on some updates about how to watch the show. And firstly, the previous episode I did that a few days prior to actually posting it, so I didn't have a chance to tell you that from now on, season 19 is also going to be streaming on Heartland's YouTube channel. So if your location is in Canada, you'll be able to choose between Gem or YouTube. And I know for some people, they prefer YouTube because Gem can get a little glitchy sometimes, or it can be kind of hard to use depending on your device. So from now on, YouTube is an option as well on Sundays. I think they start airing the episode later than Gem does, but if that's not an issue for you, then just know that that's an option for you. Then for the fans in the US, I have some interesting news, unexpected news, but good news. Heartland season 19, which is the currently airing in Canada season, will premiere in the US on Up Faith and Family on Thursday, November 6th, and the episodes will air on the streaming service weekly through episode 5. Then after a 4-week break, episodes will resume on January 8th. So this is, I think, the fastest US has gotten the newest episodes. And then if you're an Up TV watcher, season 18 is coming to Up TV starting January 8th, which is the exact same date as episode 6 of season 19 airing on Up Faith and Family. And if you're wondering, like, Up TV, Up Faith and Family, like, what is the difference? Up TV is a live traditional cable and satellite TV network, whereas Up Faith and Family is a streaming on-demand service. So depending what's your preferred way to watch, you can either choose Up TV, which will air the episodes a little bit later, but then you have also an option to choose Up Faith and Family. And the Up network, the TV, the streaming service, is always the first one to get Heartland on US. So if you want to know about Netflix, that will come later on. So you will have to wait a little while to get that if you're a Netflix watcher. But those are quick updates right now, and let's get into your comments. Chris Tim Heartland said, "Good opening for the season with lots of drama, love and affection, and excitement. Typical Heartland episode as I expected. It's a bummer that Chris isn't in it, but removing him from the opening credits felt like a punch in the gut for me. Not even a video call, just a brief mention. I'm glad his marriage is going strong and he's having the time of his life on the road again, but I sure do miss seeing him on my screen. Jessica too. Amy and Nathan, adorable together. Love how supportive and understanding he is. Amy risking everything for a horse is typical. Katie's growing up so fast. Love her. Lou and Gracie might just become PFFs by the end of the season. Both strong and feisty. Independent woman with great sense for business. I'm expecting some surprises from Gracie, though. Lisa, the voice of reason and generous as always, offering her place to those in need, but Jack was just insufferable this episode, if I may say. Stubborn and refusing to leave his home, his belongings, holding on to his memories. I get that he has an emotional attachment to everything in his house, but everything is replaceable. And ripping off that door frame and damaging it in the process, what good did it do? I did like his and Katie's scene in the barn. That's what he was supposed to do from the beginning instead of collecting photos and vinyl records. To be there and support family members. So glad Miley moved on from Logan. Started fresh, has a vision and doing something about it. It was a nice touch when the whole community came to her help. That moved the heartstrings of the viewer. Nice. I still hope we get to see Tim and Nathan at the dinner table one day, but that probably won't happen this season. Yeah, as soon as the credits started rolling, I was like, oh, right, the credits, because we've been speculating that Tim will not be in this season. And then, as we expected to see Chris's name on the credits, it was gone. And I was like, damn, like this is real now. And then when the clip with him riding Champ was gone, I was like, oh, he really is gone this season. Like, I mean, I was pretty sure that that would be the case, but it's still kind of like Tim Heartland said, like punch through the gut. And then when I rewatched the episode, watching the credits, this time knowing what to expect, they seemed a bit comical because it's like a clip of Amy with Lindy, Lou, Amy, Jack, Amy. I get that there are some contract things and business reasons why Jessica Steen or Bay McPherson or anyone else isn't featured in the credits, but not even like scenes with the family, like having dinner, which is a very typical thing that happens on the show and sort of sets the atmosphere for the show you're about to watch. Yeah, they could have changed the credits a little bit, in my opinion, but I understand it's like there are reasons for it. Lou's clip got changed, and then Tim's clip was replaced by Amy in shadow. It's a nice clip, but I could have used something else too, because like I said, it's very Amy heavy credits, and again, she's the main character in many sense, but still. As for the storyline with Jack and Lisa, like even though Tim is not in the episode and we know now what he's doing, which was what a lot of us thought he would do, like take the job he talked about last season, I have a feeling that if Tim would have been in this episode, he would have sort of been the other person in the scenes with Jack. So I have mixed feelings because obviously I missed him, but I did enjoy seeing Lisa taking a bigger role in this episode and being the voice of reason and just doing things that we've never seen her do before. And so it was kind of like a funny thought in the middle of missing Tim that Tim is kind of like Jack's wife half of the time. And now Lisa got to be his wife for a change. So I did like that storyline, but definitely thought about what would have been Tim's storyline in this episode. And I think as a whole, this episode was really good, well put together, and like it felt like a mini movie almost, and very classic Heartland. So I don't have complaints about that. But yeah, we've definitely now crossed that bridge where it's obvious that we will not see Tim this season, or if we do, it's not going to be like a big thing, maybe a phone call or something like that. But yeah, I'm trying not to focus too much on that because I feel like the other stories are still able to pull my interest. So I really hope that they do keep this up because Tim is such a big part of the show. And I jokingly said to some of my friends that it's really interesting that now that Tim is not on the show, I'm realizing just how many women are on the show, as if Tim stands for like, I don't know, like 8 men or something like that. Obviously, I knew that there were a lot of women on the show, but it's really funny to kind of realize like, oh yeah, like there aren't a lot of guys in this show, especially in this season, it seems. Obviously, later on, we will have other characters as well, but like in this episode in particular. Then Patricia said, it was jam-packed with action. Gracie has changed her strategy after talking with Lou. Ulterior motive, I can sense it. It was so heartwarming with Amy and Nathan helping Queenie when she went into labor with her foal. Lucky it was rightfully named by Lindy. How precious. Then everyone rallied around Miley when she lost her barn due to the fire. That was so heartwarming. Nathan is so kind and thoughtful with Lindy at the end of the episode, making her feel included. Amy is very lucky. Yeah, I feel like lucky was kind of the word of the episode. You know, Amy saying she is lucky in the beginning of the episode, and the fall getting called lucky, then everyone else escaping the fire. Well, besides Miley and some of the other people of the town. But like, I think lucky could have been the title of the episode. Then Ayo Bahachis BBG, not sure how to say that. They said, just finished watching the first episode and trailer tonight with my daddy. Not sure what to make out of Nathan's sister, that's for sure. She's got ulterior motives, I think possibly, and she seems sketchy. A lot of what was in the first episode tonight was also in the trailer. I'm also curious as to why they aren't showing previews on the next new upcoming episodes following at the end credits. Also, notice how Lindy was missing Ty and Amy was too. Never thought I could ever picture Amy with someone who wasn't Ty, but Nathan and Amy seem pretty serious. Interesting. Can't wait for next week's episode and the new podcast episodes to follow. Okay, that's good to know that they're not showing the trailers at the end of the episode because I'm watching from Gem, so it doesn't have that feature. But I've heard that they've shown the trailers in the previous airings of the show. But thankfully, they seem to post them online. At least this week they did. So, by the way, if you ever want to see like the preview or the first minutes to the episode, if they are posted on time, I will include them in the YouTube video description just in case you miss them. And if they're not there, I've either scheduled the episode way ahead of the time or they didn't post that. But yeah, thanks for your comment. Then Stephanie said, what a strong opening to season 19. The season opener had all the classic Heartland moments that just makes you fall right back into the rhythm of the show like no time has passed. I enjoyed seeing Lisa and Jack having a storyline together, and her talking some sense into Jack about needing to leave when the fire was getting too dangerous. I love these lines. Jack, when did you get so stubborn? Lisa, I've learned from the best, or something like that. I thought that moment was cute. I love seeing Lisa lending Jack a hand with the wrench instead of leaving him alone. Amy and Nathan were, of course, adorable. I love their little flirty banter. I absolutely love that Nathan isn't pressuring Amy into telling Lindy about them dating and that he understands that it's a sensitive subject and needs to be handled delicately. I totally saw coming that Queenie was going to give birth. I mean, is it really a Heartland episode if someone / some animal isn't giving birth during a traumatic moment? Also, Amy and Nathan's communication so far as a couple has been such a breath of fresh air. I hope it continues. I found it interesting that Marion knew Crazy and sort of took her under her wing. I hope we get to learn more about their backstory. As others have said, I can see Lou and Crazy having an interesting dynamic this season and will possibly end up being friends at some point, or at least frenemies. I'll try and not to say this too much this season, but I really do miss seeing Tim. I'm glad they made mention of where he is, and they even mentioned Jessica. This season just won't be the same without him. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Yeah, I'm really curious about Crazy and Marion as well. I'm wondering because there was this article they posted the official page about someone you haven't seen in a long time coming back. Like maybe there will be like flashback episode with Marion and Crazy, and they have probably cast someone else besides Lisa Langlois. Marion truly is someone we haven't seen in a long time, and it seems like they're really building the storyline around Marion. I mean, we saw the trailer and we know now that Crazy has a past with Marion. So it'll be interesting to see if that is who they're teasing about. I don't know if that is the case, but just came to my mind as I was reading that message. And no context, Heartland said. I thought it was a pretty good episode, though the stakes felt very low despite their best efforts. We always knew Amy and Nathan would make it back and that Heartland would be fine, because they're not about to change up sets. I really like the end with everyone coming to help Miley rebuild her barn, paralleling when everyone came to help Heartland rebuild their barn in the past. I think that was a good way of setting up a season where a large arc is going to be callbacks to Ty and the early seasons as Amy and Nathan move forward and tell Lindy about their relationship. Speaking of Amy and Nathan, who told them they could be so cute? I'm so deep. I'm not sure what to make out of Crazy and the setup for her and Lou's rivalry, hopefully and somewhat predictably into friendship, but we'll see. Can't believe Katie is old enough to drive now. Jack and Lisa's part seemed very solid, and I hope we get to see more of Lisa through this season than we sometimes do. And I'm already missing Tim and his energy. Seeing they took Chris Potter's name out of the opening credits felt like a gut punch. And I can't believe that Jessica, Bay, Spencer, Ruby, and Emmy haven't been added to the main theme portion. It's so wild to see that section so heavily reduced to only 3 names. I would love for them to pay more homage to the newer members of the cast, and especially Jessica Steen being around since the very beginning. And I'm sure they could find a way to still highlight Amber, Michelle, and Sean as, well, I guess our core 3 now. I mean, I fully expect Crazy and Lou to become friends too, but I did like the scenes with them because it's like, in many ways, they are probably very similar, but they sort of seem different on the outside. And I loved Crazy kind of going, "Oh, you're romantic," because that is who Lou has always been, and she was very quick to point that out. I also really like Lou in this episode because she really showed her best features, like how she is very caring and comes up with ideas and wants to take care of people. I know she gets a little crazy sometimes, but I think her heart is in the right place, and I think it really showed in this episode. And I like that she was taking accountability and wasn't like trying to excuse her past behavior as something like acceptable, because it did get out of hand at times. So I did really like her in this episode, and I hope that continues this season as we move forward, because I'm so ready for Lou to not be the bad guy for once, because she can be really amazing when they write her that way. So I really appreciated that in this episode. Then Smoking Holster said, "I thought it was a good opening episode that certainly answered my one key question, which was the state of Amy and Nathan's relationship, which seems not only intact but strong. I do have to say it's nice that Nathan has nowhere better to be than with Amy. This is probably unpopular, but I'm thinking that it's somewhat unhealthy to not only keep Lindy in the dark about Amy, but to spend a lot of time in memory of Ty. She was 3 when he died, and from what I've researched, while still remembered, her memories of him would be vague at best. Also, a TV in the Fairfield barn surrounded by kids and parents? I mean, who came up with this plan? Glad Lou and Crazy did what they did. Not happy that Lindy was there to see Amy and Nathan leave to Miley's, and right there to hear Lou say that Amy might not turn back. Love that Miley has a ranch and a business of her own, and wondering why Amy doesn't. I don't miss Logan. I like him at the beginning, but he turned way too whiny. Nice scene at the end with a bunch of folks there to help out. I guess we all knew that Queenie would fall then and there, but the first Amy visit was not T-touch, at least by show standards. Fairfield is huge. I don't know what else to say, but I'd love to see the house. The Jack and Lisa scene was nice, but bordered on weird and obsessive. I have no idea why Jack decided to have to tear that door jamb off, since the job seemed mostly done. Also, if you're packing memories in boxes, you actually don't have the time to read an album back, just time to fill the track. Love that Katie's writing and driving. I love what her character has become. Bay is great. I actually don't think Lou has changed at all, and I think Crazy is going to set her up with this whole grain feeding business. I don't trust either to act or play fair, but in the end, I think it'll work out based on some behind the scenes pictures. I also don't think Nathan trusts his sister at all, and I think the feud is going to involve Marion, the prize mom, and whatever happened way back when. Crazy's last comment was, "Who am I to stand in the way of true love?" coupled with her comments to Lou at the open house, don't spell upbeat for. Their mom left for a reason. I too did like Logan in the beginning, but in the later parts of his existence in the show, it was kind of like, okay, we get that he is learning from Amy, but why else is he here? But I do like Miley, and it is interesting that they kept her. I sort of felt like maybe she would go with him, sort of the way a lot of characters disappear. But it's interesting to see if they have a bigger role for her this season. Obviously, this offered a great opportunity for them to play around with the pregnant mayor and then having the barn burn down and then having the community to come there to help her, which is like very classic Heartland. I mean, it literally happened in season 1 as well. And while I was very aware that they were not going to do anything with the ranch, the scenes with Jack and Lisa did make me feel nostalgic for the show. I mean, I've watched the show for 12 years, but obviously it's been going for 19 years. So I've sort of, as we have all, spent a lot of time within that house in a way. So scenes like this always make me realize like there will come a time when we will not get new episodes, when we're not invited back to the Heartland world. Obviously, we can revisit the older episodes, but one day it'll be gone, just like Jack feared would happen with the house. So it did make me a bit emotional thinking about that, even though I was like fully aware that they would not do anything with the ranch, but still, it made me a bit emotional. And the point about Lindy like missing Ty, I too was thinking like, how much does a child that age remember? Like when she lost her father, how much would she remember? Obviously, it's a trauma in some ways. Like I think she remembers like probably that confusion, like, oh, daddy's here, but he's not here. I think maybe she's more aware of the concept. I do wonder if maybe her friends have been like, oh, what's your dad like? Like, why does your mommy always pick you up? Or where's your dad or whatever? And she's like, oh, he's in the moon. And they're like, you're kind of weird. Because they can't understand what she means by that. This is harsh to say, but obviously there are some memories that are probably instilled some part of her brain, but I don't know how much a child of her age from season 13 could actually remember about Ty. So I think it's more about the concept of Ty, and I hope that because she loves Nathan, and obviously Nathan cares deeply about her as well, they have a storyline about that, like this concept of a father, like is that something she can never have again? And then obviously Nathan can't replace Ty, but he can be a good father figure, someone who can take care of Lindy, look after her, support her mother, and all those good things. So I do hope that they are dealing it in a way that's more realistic rather than sort of romanticized. Like, Lindy remembers everything about her father, because I just don't think that's realistic, even though it's like very like dramatic and angsty and all that. But I hope they treat that balance delicately, that it's not over the top, because I feel like the people who do not accept Nathan into Amy and Libby's life are going to use that against Nathan and Amy's choice. So I really do hope that they do it in a respectful way without anyone looking like the big bad person, because all of these characters deserve happiness, and I think Ty would agree with that. Then HL Horses said, really like this episode. Classic Heartland with horses being in danger and Amy putting herself in danger to go save them. New intro picture of Lou, and of course, no Tim. They should have updated Amy and Lindy while they were at it. And of course, Tim actually took that announcing job. Interesting how they didn't make a big deal out of it, like a character straight up saying, oh, now that Tim took that job and is in Texas or whatever. They were just subtly were, oh, we are watching Tim on TV. Glad we got a Jessica mention too. I wonder if Chris was already thinking about missing filming this year last season, just because he originally declined that announcing job. But in the scene with Tim and Jack in season 18 finale, he kind of left it open again, which generally they would have given a definitive yes or no. I will very much miss Tim and his banter with Jack. Anyway, on to the episode. First off, Mamie is so cute. I was hoping they'd give us an idea of how much time has passed. I guess enough to where Nathan and Amy are serious and feel like it's been long enough they can tell Lindy. I also love seeing Amy happy and in love. It was also nice to see them having mature and serious conversation this episode, specifically about Lindy. I can't wait to see more of Nathan and Lindy together because his two interactions with her were so cute this episode, with the Molly comment and the swinging her around at the end. Molly laying on Lindy was cute too, but we all know Lindy is going to find out on accident and get mad. Wish they would just tell her. Also, I knew they were never going to have that family dinner. Haha. I also love how Nathan went with Amy to save that horse. No questions asked, but then was also aware enough to say they had to leave when it got dangerous, since Amy never does. And of course, that horse went into labor. Amy and Nathan do make a good team, and this is years too late, but glad Amy is finally realizing that putting herself in danger to go save a horse isn't a good choice when she has Lindy. Nathan comforting Amy was cute. My favorite scene was definitely in the barn at Fairfield. The cheese stuff was good in this episode. First off, always love seeing her on a horse, and I love seeing her so involved and offering Fairfield. I feel like Lisa always seems to be absent for the big and dangerous episode, so glad she was here for this one. Always love seeing Fairfield. Her staying with Jack and doing actual ranch work was great to see too. And again, it was nice for her to be in an episode where Jack is going through something, because I feel like a lot of times she's not there. Also, on the door jam scene, I feel like that's the closest we've gotten to a scene in Jack's room. I really like the Lou and Crazy stuff, and I want them to end up being friends, because we all know how short on friends Amy and Lou are. I really like their scene in the Fairfield bend. Good the Crazy signed the deal, but I still don't trust her. I'm interested in learning more about Crazy because I think we will learn more about Marion too. It did make me laugh when Lou just assumed Crazy is a nice person and asks her to help with the course, and Crazy is just so confused. Honorable mentions. We got a T-Touch mention. Katie has her license. I appreciate a scrolling comment, and a lot of scenes from the trailer were in this episode, so I'm glad it seems we actually haven't seen a lot of footage yet from the later episodes. Looking forward to next week. I did like how Amy and Nathan were a team in this episode. Like, I kept thinking this would feel totally different with Ty. I love how calm and reasonable Nathan is, because Ty had a tendency of being very dramatic and not listening. You know, it created trauma, but like there were a lot of things happening in this episode, and I think that would have just been too messy. So I really appreciated the way Nathan held Amy, but was also offering options and just doing his part in helping everyone else out. Like the little mention to Lindy, like, you can look after Molly because he knows that she loves the dog. So it's a way for her to find calmness within this crazy situation. And then at the end of the episode, where Amy finds the picture that Lindy took with her, and she realizes we can't do this yet. Like, we can't tell Lindy yet about us. And Nathan is like, I get it. Whenever you feel it's the right time, like, we're gonna do it then. And I really like that. But I was scared for a minute, because is Amy gonna be like, oh, I think we should kind of take a step back and not maybe be so involved until we tell her. Thankfully, that didn't happen, and they are actually talking things through and working as a team and trying to figure this out together and supporting each other. And I think that is very lovely to see. Then, as Davidson said, absolutely love this season premiere. I also think this was one of the strongest season premieres that I can remember, so definitely agree with that. Then the real TC said, I thought the episode hit all the right notes, so definitely a very strong opening for season 19. Classic Mark Haroon stuff. We had light romance teasing Amy and Nathan being officially a couple, but telling little Lindy is a sticking point. We had a good mix of drama and danger. The wildfire evacuation situation is reminiscent of the earlier plots with the community affected by the flooding and the train derailment, but things have never been as dire for the ranch itself. I was really glad Lisa was on hand because, as HL Horses mentioned, it seems she's almost never around for these kind of situations. I was even more pleased she offered Fairfield as a place for Hudson evacuees to gather. We'll learn it's outside the evacuation zone because of how rarely anything happens there. Watching the scenes of Jack and Lisa working together, emphasizing that yes, the physical place holds a lot of memories that cannot be replaced, it's the lives of the people they love that matter most. Lou and Crazy are going to make excellent frenemies, I think. It was teased in the trailer, Crazy as a kid hanging around Marion. Makes me wonder if she was her generation's version of Mallory, the somewhat neglected kid next door, and Marion indulged her by taking her under her wing. Who knows what kind of person Mrs. Price was? Nathan and Amy riding to rescue pregnant Queenie and then having to deliver as Miley pulls up served to show Lindy still has anxieties over Ty's death. Her very poignant comment about how Amy cannot promise she'll always be there pulled at the heartstrings. And I did actually get teary when the community showed up to help Miley rebuild. Great start to the season, and I look forward to how things go. Solid 9 out of 10 from me, and certainly one of the best season openers in the show's history. That's an interesting comment about Crazy being the first Mallory, and I do wonder if it sort of sparked Marion's interest in helping kids. Like, first came maybe Crazy, then Scott, then Ty, and all the people that followed. So it would be kind of interesting if Crazy sort of had this big role in changing Heartland as well in this way that we never really knew before. Then Sharon said, good opening episode setting up for the rest of the season. Lisa saving Jack from himself again. Interaction between Lou and Crazy, interesting. Lou trying to mend fences, but Crazy, I don't trust her. If she signs the agreement, it will be with strings attached. Lindy understanding the trauma of the situation and watching her mother leave has her worried that Amy will not be coming back. She remembers Ty through photos and stories. Amy realizing the emotions she put Lindy through and now has to think before going into perilous situations. Nathan standing by Amy's decision shows that he's a kind and empathetic man and loves Amy and Lindy. I love how Lou could see how those at Fairfield were affected. That's Lou's thinking of others. Katie has her license. Wonder what the time jumping is between season 18 and 19. Glad to see Miley has moved on from Logan. Well, we know Tim took the job. Looking forward to episode 2. I think there was a teaser that said the time between season 18 and season 19 was like 6 months or something like that. And then Lisa Again Forever said, I can only echo what has already been said. I really enjoyed the season opener with fresh scenes between Lisa and Jack and Amy and Nathan. I'm glad the family accepts Nathan and was even willing to invite him to dinner. We all know that's the ultimate test. It's a joy to watch the budding love between Amy and Nathan. I also enjoyed the interaction between Crazy and Lou, and I'm curious to learn more about the history with Marion. I was preparing myself for not seeing Tim, but noticing Chris Potter's name removed from the opening credits was tough. I was hoping we would see Tim at least on some video calls. Instead, we just got a mention. It will be interesting to see the family dynamics without Tim steering things up. I just hope Chris will be all right and back for season 20. Looking forward to the next episode. Interesting you would say that. Obviously, this comment was made days ago. And now, if you have seen the preview for the next episode, Jack might be there to stir some drama. But that's actually a natural segue to the next section. Let's see what the next episode will bring. So tomorrow on October 12th, we have episode 2 airing on CBC TV, CBC Gem, or on Heartland's YouTube channel. The episode is called Two Can Keep a Secret. The synopsis goes, Amy must deal with the fallout when Lindy's first 4-H show goes awry. Meanwhile, Katie does something unexpected with Dodger. So, like every week, we will return to talk about that episode next week, and you can leave your comments under the post on Instagram, H2HL Podcast. And yeah, we'll talk more next week. And until then, keep your noses clean and your powder dry, as they say. Bye.